A typical scene in southeastern Turkey. The trail leads to Iraq over the mountains. It's a route for smuggling, a main source of income in the area. The rocky terrain and the presence of mines left over from the conflict between the Turkish army and Kurdish separatists in the 90s have made farming difficult and dangerous. These boys know the road only too well.
This is the path we take to go to Iraq. It's far away. Sometimes our mules fall from the slopes and get killed. But sometimes we go there, we push our mules on and we go. The planes are watching us. Sometimes the soldiers throw tear gas at us, they shoot at us and kill our mules. But we go on because we must.
They won't go any further today. In the surrounding villages, the army closes its eyes to what's locally called border trade, but not here in this notorious village called Roboski in Kurdish and Uludere in Turkish. In 2011, 34 smugglers from here and a nearby village were bombed by F-16s of the Turkish army after they had just crossed the border. Ever since, their families have been vainly demanding an investigation and legal proceedings. The authorities offered them compensation in exchange for their silence, says the head of the Families Association.
This money, we call it blood money. We will not accept it. We will fight for this trial to be held. And that's why the state puts pressure on the people of Roboski. They arrest people, put them in custody. Why? Because they're trying to absorb us.
Under such surveillance, the villagers say they're deprived of their only source of income.
You see young people here. They hang out. There's no work. There's no farm, no livestock, no factory where they can work.
The mainly Kurdish Şırnak province has been marked by years of fighting between the Turkish army and the PKK, the Kurdish armed separatist party banned in Turkey and on the EU's list of terrorist organisations. Amid renewed fighting, Euronews has come to gauge Kurdish sentiment ahead of a tense election. A ceasefire agreement in 2013 brought a lull, but it fell apart after the elections in June. Bombing of the region's mountains, which harbour PKK camps, has resumed amid attacks against security forces. On both sides, the death toll has risen. Şırnak, the provincial capital, has seen clashes recently. We meet Leyla Birlük, an MP of the main pro-Kurdish party, the HDP. The vote for the party in June's election deprived President Erdogan's AKP of its governing majority. Since then, Birlük says, the state has maintained a high military presence in Şırnak. In early October, her brother-in-law was killed during clashes between police and Kurdish separatists. The images of his body, riddled with bullets and dragged behind a police vehicle, enraged locals. They were posted on social media by officers themselves. It came after the brutal killing of 2 policemen by Kurds.
Our success has really been a problem for the AKP. To destroy what we have achieved, they increased the level of violence since June 7th. And this in all its forms: arrests, detentions, shelling the Kurdistan mountains. They also attack HDP activists and all the Kurdish political freedom movements. What they did to Hachi was not the first case. The children of the Kurdish people have already been dragged that way or beheaded. These are things we have already seen, things we knew, things we spoke of. But now it's in the open, with the pictures that the state security forces have taken themselves.
In Şırnak, residents say there's great pressure on them. We meet a civil servant and a member of an opposition trade union. She's not Kurdish, like many civil servants in the province. She conceals her identity, as the law prohibits public workers from speaking to the media. She claims there's discrimination against Kurds and the city is gripped by fear.
Here, after 5 p.m, you absolutely cannot go out into the streets. You can't do anything. Why? Armoured vehicles pass with armed policemen on top, hands on the barrels. They could shoot you by accident. That's the feeling they instill in people. They give you the impression that they can do everything they want and that you cannot do anything.
We head to Cizre, a stronghold of the PKK-aligned movement of the Revolutionary Patriotic Youth. The rebels have erected barricades and dug trenches in several districts of the city to keep the army out. Heavy fighting and a curfew of 9 days left entire neighbourhoods in ruins. 21 civilians were killed. The head of the Sirnak Province Human Rights Association blames the security forces.
Snipers were deployed at high points, and people were killed by these snipers, in front of them and even in their homes.
Several residents want to talk to us. Arslan wants to show us her destroyed workshop, the project of a lifetime.
It's manufactured in Turkey. It's written on it. Nowhere else are such weapons used against civilians. It's forbidden. I tried to build something. I opened my workshop here. I had dreams, but Erdogan blew up my dreams.
In another part of town, we meet a group of young militiamen. Trained as urban guerrillas, they stand guard night and day against security force attacks on the inhabitants, they say. They've declared self-rule to, in their words, uphold the rights and freedom of their community. They call for the resumption of peace talks as a condition for laying down their weapons.
They attacked us with bombs, with tanks. We're forced to protect ourselves, to protect our people. We want peace, we don't want war. We, as the youth, we demand a good future. We demand that the state stops the pressure it exerts on us.
A good future is what Bahram dreamed of for his 10-year-old sister. She was killed by a sniper's bullet that passed through the gate of his house during the 9-day curfew. With the city locked down, the ambulances could not reach the neighbourhood, the family say. They've kept the child's body in a freezer.
We could not bring the body to the hospital, and we had no way to bury her. They were shooting at anyone who went out into the streets.
In 1992, the family home was bombed, killing 7 and badly wounding several others. Bahram says he just wants peace.
It saddens us to see only death, one side or the other. Let there be no more deaths, no more bloodshed. Let the mothers no longer have to cry over their children. Cemile is the 8th person killed in my family. Many others were maimed, and despite all this, we still say that the armed conflict is not a solution. We need peace.